obviously I'm interested in sport, but I think the issues and challenges face all community organisations, and those are recruitment, training and retention. Recruiting volunteers is becoming harder and harder. People have got a lot more pressure on their time and unable to commit every week, and the number of hours that volunteers needs, and also the cost for recruiting volunteers is getting more and more. So there's a big challenge to overcome that. The second bit is around training, and training costs are increasing all the time in terms of attend courses, but it's not just the costs, it's also about the time that the volunteer has to spend attending those courses. And that's again putting more pressures, because when you cost, it's either the individual volunteer is paying them or it's the club that's paying them, and eventually that goes back onto the kids or the people who are taking part in the activities. So the costs and that time for training is going to be a big challenge to overcome. And the final thing is about retention. And in the UK, we don't recognise volunteers properly. We don't give them the true recognition that they deserve. As I've said, sport in this country won't exist without all the volunteers. There would be no sport in the UK without the volunteers that are doing the great work that they're doing. But we don't recognise them, there's no structure, there's no formula, there's nothing. And it's no wonder that when they're getting put on more and more, there's fewer and fewer people are doing it, and now being asked to do more, and lots of bureaucracy around it, then we're putting under more pressure, and they're then walking away and not staying in. The second part about that is also when you recruit young volunteers to do work, quite often you'll train them, you'll give them all the qualifications and skills, and then they use those skills and go and get paid employment or sessional employment because they need that as part of it. So it's very difficult. You spend a lot of money recruiting, training, and then they disappear to do other things.
I'm a firm believer that some people want to do voluntary work and not get paid. I think some people want to do street parties and support their communities and can do that with very little funding or resources, and that's a really necessary part of what we do, but it's distinctly different from voluntary organisations who are set up to deliver services and sometimes public services. And I think one of the big challenges is the decision makers understanding that that's a very different thing and needs to be funded in a different way.
I think we're certainly entering some difficult times in terms of public sector financing and the general economic climate. When those sort of things happen, everyone tends to tighten the belts and look inward. I think the volunteers sector and groups offer us a fantastic opportunity, both ways, for them to support the police to make sure that we continue the high level of service that we've been giving, but also for us to assist those people who want to develop themselves, build their experience and contribute to the community. We give them a real viable opportunity for them to be able to do that.